Well, I'm executive director of the Colonial Theater, which means that when we started planning all of this, I worked with the board of directors to come up with a vision for the entire project. Then once we got started, I have to oversee, like in my position, and be involved in pretty much everything that goes on with the project. A couple of years ago, the board of directors actually ratified a new strategic plan that we put together, and that included this space and the creation of the second space and what's going on in the main stage, which is the complete renovation of the front of house and complete renovation of the stage house as well. Here in Showroom, we are really chomping at the bit to get going as quickly as we can and safely as we can. Our hope, I think the best possible scenario is that by September, we're doing things in here. When I say doing things, meaning at something like full capacity. This is a smaller space, so it's even harder for us to do limited capacity because it means cutting it down to 25 people attending, which is more difficult to support. So we're hoping by then, and certainly we hope before the end of the year, that we're in here. We're already putting things on the books for this space with touring music artists and things like that. So we're hoping to get going as soon as it's safe and feasible.
I took part in not necessarily the creation of the building, but I've spent a lot of time in there doing work for the Colonial Theater. I'm a stagehand by trade, I guess, in that industry. So I was helping out, moving around the internal infrastructure of the building, as well as talking to the production manager of the Colonial Theater. So I spent a lot of time really just making sure that place would be able to meet COVID guidelines while setting up tables for events, moving around the stage, and figuring out the projection booth.
So we decided that we wanted to create a venue that was more flexible, easier for us to administer, because the main stage is a big old historic theater and it takes a lot of people to run that ship. Over here, it's a much easier task to put on an event in this space. Is much less labor intensive, and also when we work with the community groups that we work with, and there's lots of them, a lot of other nonprofits that do events, whether it's they want to do a film event on a topic that's important to their organization, or they want to do a fundraising event or whatever. The main stage it wasn't always really good for that because it was too big. Because a lot of these events are like for 100 or 200 people, and they want to have video capability and they want to have other things. So that's why we designed it with all of those audiences in mind, to get the maximum bang for our buck and the most value for the community.